Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4 steps I take from my bed to the floor. 5, 6, 7, 8. Will today be rough or will today be great? 9, 10, 11, 12. Lately I've been going through hell. 13, 14, 15, 16. Today's the day. Are you coming? Are you sick of being normal? I'm sick of being average. I'm sick of being mortal. I'm about to be a savage. I see a lot of things that I want, I will have them. I got a new mindset that I just established. I'll march through the cold with the nails on the pavement. I'll shovel that coal just to get out the basement. My story will be told, helping others make changes. I'll be so bold, they will watch in amazement.
Am I gonna face it? Am I gonna chase it? Am I gonna start over? I keep waiting. Time is limited, quickly fading. Get my mind right, it's my time, do we take it? Am I gonna face it? Am I gonna chase it? Am I gonna start over? I keep waiting. Time is limited, quickly fading. Get my mind right, it's my time, do we take it?
Foot up on the pedal, pushing hard to the metal. Make a deal with the devil, channel rage through my vessel into something that is special. Energy of a rebel, going up a level. I just wanna be greatness. I could feel changes, turn a new page and tie up my laces. I will be the bravest, break out of my cages. I will not be nameless, I will not be aimless.
Am I gonna chase it? Am I gonna start over? I keep waiting. Time is limited, quickly fading. Get my mind right, it's my time, do you take it? Am I gonna face it? Am I gonna chase it? Am I gonna start over? I keep waiting. Time is limited, quickly fading. Get my mind right, it's my time, do you take it?
What's going on, everybody? What's going on? Welcome back to the Locked In Podcast, episode 216. And what we're talking about tonight is the importance of building a legacy for your family, but ultimately you can also build a legacy for yourself. But it's mainly that's mainly comes in like the fact of like leaving your name in this world. But want to welcome back in my brother Rob, man. What's going on, bro? Thanks for joining tonight, bro.
What's going on? Thanks for having me on, Steve. Always good to be back.
No problem.
Everybody's
man.
doing well.
Yeah, appreciate your time, bro. I know you're a busy man, so appreciate you carving the time out, my guy.
Yes, sir. It's an important topic. So
100%. 100%. Some topics, man, I'm not gonna lie, it's hard to always come up with personal development topics, especially when you're 200 episodes in. But certain topics, I will give some, leeway to others for sure. So this is definitely a big one, definitely.
yeah.
So guys, just want to give the heads up for the promo. Rich, I had him as tentative. He's not going to be able to make it tonight. Dante is still a tentative, and then Mario should be on here too. So it should be 3 of us and potentially 4. But me and Rob will have it for right now. So yeah, building a legacy, the importance of it. Whether you're just putting your mark on this world in terms of your name. We hear. I mean, listen to all the names you hear, right? Like McDonald's, that's a name, right? That's the last name. Say Maybach, like car, that's a name. Abercrombie and Fitch, like any of the brands you hear out there, their names, like Wells Fargo. It's 2 different people. I forget that Jim Wells and something Fargo, like they're different names. Rolls Royce, same things, 2 separate names, but essentially you leave your mark on this world. You can leave it in terms of your legacy and your name. but you can also do it in terms of your family as well, like assets, all different types of things. So we'll get into it here tonight, the importance of it, how to kind of create your legacy, and the different ways that you can do it. So guys, just want to say, before I hop into the topic, if you're watching on YouTube and you're not already subscribed, make sure you click that subscribe button and hit that little notification bell to turn notifications on if you like content related to personal development or sports. This is the podcast for you. So definitely hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. If you're on Facebook, I'm assuming you're already part of the group, so thank you for that. Still hit that like button. It really helps us out with the algorithm. If you're on YouTube or Facebook, feel free to comment in. On YouTube, I can throw your comments up on the screen. Facebook, I just got to kind of read them out loud because it doesn't really let me link the comments through here due to like Meta's privacy concerns. And with that being said, guys, just enjoy the podcast. Let's just not waste any time and hop into it. All right, so legacy. When I think of legacy, I think of leaving your mark. That's the first thing that comes to my mind, is kind of leaving your mark and leaving a what's the word I'm looking for here? It's not just a mark on the world, it's a mark on your family, people. That's what you're remembered by, as your legacy. I think when there's studies out there that have asked people on their deathbed, what's one thing they regret in this life? It's not all the things that they bought, it's not all the materialism stuff. It's more so how they're remembered in this world, because that's the thing. Like, if you can create a solid legacy for yourself, you will always be remembered. And you may be remembered by the world, you may be remembered by your family, but either way, you're leaving a mark on this world. Rob, when you hear the word legacy, like, what kind of comes to your mind?
Yeah, so very similar to what you were saying. First thing that comes up to my mind is mark. My mentor always say to me, either I'm gonna leave a mark or I'm gonna leave a scar. So basically saying he's gonna have an impact either way. Either he's gonna hurt you, or he's gonna leave a good mark. So yeah, it's basically what it is. It's you're not irrelevant. You're not just a dirt in the wind. You're leaving something behind when you're away. Some type of mark, or like my mentor says, some type of scar. Like, so that's the first thing I think of when I think of legacy. An impact that you have when you're gone, something you're remembered by, something that you created that you're remembered by, or something that you did that you're remembered by. So that's the first thing I think of when we think of legacy. Even children can be a part of like your legacy because you create them. So it's something that you create or something that you remember by. So that's what I think of.
Exactly. They carry on your family tree. So that's the thing. Mark is, I think, the perfect word for it. I once heard it's funny, my mentor used the word mark too, my mentor James, and he would always say, you're gonna leave a legacy no matter what. What that legacy is up to you. So you can be remembered for stuff, or you could leave a tarnished, type of legacy where you didn't do anything with your life. You wasted a bunch of time. You got caught up in a bunch of distractions. You didn't really do much, or you were caught up with a lot of negative temptations. Is that you could do that, or you could be remembered for something. You could be remembered out in the world for, like, you could create a business. It could be remembered forever. You could be remembered by your family. And there's different ways to build that legacy. I think a lot of people think financial, which is a big one. I think be able to set our families up with generational wealth is definitely a big one. But there's other things too that we'll get into tonight. But I'll actually start with that one. I think that's a big one. Being able to build wealth for your family. A lot of families, there's always that one person, right, that breaks the generational pain, the generational trauma, the generational curse. And it could be in terms of emotional, could be in terms of, I'll just use this example, financial. If your family has been struggling for a long time, there's always that one person that could break the chain of that struggle, whether it be through your business, through just tons of different ways to acquire wealth. So you can acquire wealth through investments. There's a million different ways to invest. Could be, stocks, funds, through real estate, but basically just, building something for your family. And it could and that's the thing, financial is kind of up to you, what you kind of choose. Like, you know what I mean? Everybody, there's not a specific mark or a specific level you need to be able to hit financially. It's whatever you can put away. You could be, your family is always going to remember that. If you could set your family up somewhat financially, that could be beneficial for generations, and you could really, really break the generational curse of your family if your family has struggled financially. I have a friend. Yeah, I have a friend. He grew up middle class, and he's always been middle class. His whole family has always been middle class. Like his, going back to whenever, his grandparents, as far as he, can remember. And he now owns, his own. He owns multiple different Remaxes. Created his own title company. Created his own mortgage company, and now the guy's a multimillionaire, and he's the first multimillionaire in his family. So you can imagine, like, this guy's gonna probably. He's gonna break the pattern. Like I went to high school with this guy. He grew up, same as me, and it's like it's amazing though to just see with hard work can really do. And he's only 31, about to be 32, and he's already killing it. But it just goes to show what you can build. And now he just had a kid, so he can kind of start that trend.
Right. And and I agree when it comes to the financial part, this definitely plays a big part in legacy because as you know, finances create power, money gives you options and options are power. So like you said, it is very important. Now everybody can't be Rockefeller. Like Rockefeller is a big legacy, obviously. He passed on millions of dollars to his family. Everybody can't be Rockefeller, but like you said, Steve, it all starts somewhere. It doesn't. You don't have to be passing on millions, but if you pass it on something that will benefit your future generations, I think it makes an impact for them, and that's the mark that we're talking about in terms of legacy. But to me, I think the most powerful legacy you can give to someone, your future generations, is knowledge, because we know that a lot of times the money that passes through the generations and then it breaks and goes right back to where you were before. So if you don't pass on the knowledge to your kids, I think the issue is they're going to squander that legacy. They're going to squander what you stood for. They're going to squander the mark that you left. So I think knowledge and wisdom is the most important thing. Legacy you should pass on to your future generation.
Exactly. Knowledge is gonna help you to adapt. A lot of knowledge is gate kept too. Like that's the thing. Like if you can learn stuff and be able to pass that along to your bloodline, you know what I mean? A lot of knowledge, a lot of people gatekeep, like knowledge of how they could do certain things. That's why they say in terms of money, right? Say like, I don't know, Grant Cardone. Like, I'll give you an example. He goes broke tomorrow. Like, Grant Cardone will be able to build himself back up because he has the knowledge of how he got there. You see, like,
Right.
these guys who have built themselves from scratch and from the ground up, they have the knowledge that he could probably be a millionaire very shortly again after that because he understood what it took to, get there. So I agree with you. I think knowledge trumps everything, for sure.
Right.
Heath said, and he's a dad too. Congrats, Heath, by the way, brother. I know he just had his second kid. He said, I think also just continuing your line, having kids gives so much purpose. Your ancestors had to literally battle famine, the elements, invaders, etc., to get your line to this point. We owe them. Yeah, no, absolutely, man. I know you got two boys too, man. You got two sons, man. Two boys to carry the name, for sure. I think that's one of I don't have any biological children of my own, but absolutely, like I can just imagine a fire that it gives you like inside your soul. Like when you have your children, you have you're not just fighting for yourself, but you're literally out there fighting for your children to build something big for your children to be able to pass something along. And it's like Rob said, it doesn't have to be millions, but you even look like it's like you could be. Say you put something like 50 grand away, you never know. That could be the 50 grand that other family member needed to create the millions. You never know. Like, I'll give an example. This is a big example, but look at Trump. Like Trump's dad gave him like $1 million loan and he turned it into billions. So it starts with stepping stones of what you can pass on. And, $1 million is definitely not nothing. Like you pass him $1 million, but he turned $1 million into billions. So,
right.
it's a perfect
Which
example.
the magnitude is huge. I don't think people understand the magnitude between a million and a billion.
I know, I know people go, "Oh, it's so easy. Oh, you got $1 million." Yo, it's like if you give $1 million to the average person, they ain't turning into $1 billion.
A billion, no way.
There's
Absolutely not.
like a million people that are making a few $100,000 a year in the 1%. You know what the percentage is for people that are in the billions? Like,
Point oh
oh, like,
oh.
what?
Yeah,
Very
for
small percentage
sure.
of the world is in that class. So it's like to turn that into that. I mean, that's pretty damn impressive. You can't give $1 million to the average person to turn it into $1 billion. It's just not going to happen. So that's an example. Like it's like, you know, you could put 20,000 away, and that for that family member could turn that into, you know, that could turn it into $1 million, or you know, that could be stuff that goes towards their education to make changes in the world. So say like your kid becomes a doctor or something, you know what I mean? It's just money that you put away, and that's the beauty of it. Is that financial is only one aspect of it. People also do it in terms of assets too, right? Like say you get a bunch of rental properties. I know you're in the real estate business, man. Like you get rental
Mm-hmm.
properties and you're able to set your children up with a property, you know what I mean? It's like, hey, it
Mm-hmm.
teaches them, you know, you can provide them with knowledge. That's the thing. It's like that. I think that's one of the biggest things too with knowledge is you can help provide your family with knowledge that you never had when you were doing the same thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's big.
And there's no wisdom like experience. So you got 20, 30, 40 years of experience that you can pass on to your children. So they can avoid those roadblocks. Like it would be dumb to make the same mistakes your parents did. You know, like
Exactly.
my dad told me all his mistakes, and I was able to avoid and not make the same mistakes he make, and I make my own mistakes, and then I'm gonna do the same thing for my children. So with each line, we're getting better and better and better. You know, so while every generation is gonna have their mistakes, they don't have to make the same crucial mistakes that the previous generation did. That's why we said knowledge is one of the most powerful things to pass on. Because money, you can squander it, but when you have the knowledge and the wisdom, you can go places.
Yep, because that all lives here. You know, that's what you can't see.
Yep.
So you know, it's kept up top. But you're right, man. That's the beauty of it, man. If each line can continue to improve, each bloodline, each line, you know, generation can improve. That's a beautiful thing, man. You know, and like you said, you know, of course, everybody's gonna make mistakes. There's nobody that's perfect. Everybody's gonna
Hmm.
make their own unique mistakes, but
Right.
the definition of insanity is if the person is doing the same thing over and over. So if the family's continuing to make the same mistakes and there's nothing learning from it, you can kind of get stuck in a cycle. And it's like that's where they say like generational curses, like you stay in the same cycle.
Right. And I think with the age we live in now, with the information age, that's why it's now creating a lot more millionaires, a lot more wealthier people. Because back in the day, the families kept the information within each other. So that's why like wealth didn't really move as much, I would say
Yeah.
back in the day. But now we live in the information age. You can listen to a millionaire on YouTube. You can access a millionaire through Instagram. But back in the day, they kept their information within each family. So wealth
Yep.
didn't transfer as much, I would say. So I think this is like the perfect age, to, command what you want and get what you want in this life.
Exactly. It's more prevalent than ever to be able to make money. And there's so many different ways to make money in this day and age too. But like you said, a lot of people gate kept for a long time. They gate kept to the point where it's like, oh, everything just stuck in the families, like the Rockefellers, the people that were making all the
Mm-hmm.
big money, they kept that within the family. And I would also say access to people who make that type of money is very scarce. So you still can't probably get access to them in person. Like it's going to be hard. But like if you hear these people talk on a podcast or you hear them actually like on YouTube videos, like Rob just said right there, you guys can you can learn from that. Whereas like back in the day when we weren't in the digital age, the internet age, you wouldn't be able to hear these people talk
Right,
publicly
right,
like this.
right. The
So
only way you knew about business is through your parents or like your local community. And like if they didn't have as much, they can only take you as far as their knowledge. So that's why a lot of the knowledge was, contained within these wealthier families. So I would say the wealth transfer wasn't as prevalent as it is today on the fact that
yeah.
we have so much access to information.
Yep. It's the beauty of the digital age. It's kind of like you take what you will with it. Like it can be a curse to you for sure. You know, all the entertainment and the distractions in life because
Right.
there's a plethora of distractions. But you could also take it to gain some really really amazing insight that wasn't even possible 30 years ago for most people, which is amazing. But you see, even in this day and age, a lot of people don't take advantage of that. A podcast, I'll give you a perfect example, Fresh and Fit, like they have entertainment and they have money episodes. Like they say their financial episodes don't get the hits, they don't get as popular, so they don't do as many of them. I mean, they try to on Money Mondays, but like people don't tune in as much. People rather go for the after hours episodes when they got the women on, everybody's fighting and it's drama. That's what people like to tune into. And I do think that that's also caused the wave of a lot of short form content. I know for YouTube, for this podcast, I've gained majority of my subscribers actually not even through the podcast episodes, majority through short form content. Posted short form content. Like I posted a reel and it got like 80 subscribers right through that reel because people, and it was like a sports reel. Like people are just love that short form.
That TikTok microwave
TikTok
content, quick, yep.
Hey, man, it's like, and I've been there. Like when you're scrolling on something, you can get caught in a cycle, man. You don't catch yourself. You just keep scrolling. You're like, wow, I just wasted 15 minutes scrolling through this stuff. It's crazy, man.
And honestly, I don't blame the families for keeping the information contained within the families and passing it to generation to generation. At the end of the day, they trying to eat. They want their legacy to keep moving on. The Rockefellers want to stay wealthy for generations. So I don't blame them, and it makes sense.
Yep, because guess what? If you release information, there's nobody saying that there's not a ton of money to go around, because there is. But you could build competitors out of that money, right? You could build competitors for your legacy, whatever your product, your services that your family's business provides. You could create competitors out of that. So people like to gatekeep a lot because of that.
Right.
It makes sense. But there's even going above financial, like I have a list of things here. There's different ways you could build legacy too. A perfect one is family traditions too, and that goes outside of monetary. You could build family traditions as well. They could carry on. A lot of say like families that are very close with their culture. They have that. They have like family cultural traditions. You know what I mean? And it can be in terms of. I would actually say another one is actually, I would say traditions, and then like traditions could be events. It could be, certain types of foods that are cooked, but there's different types of ways you can like leave legacy. I would even say writing a will is a way to leave a legacy too. I think a lot of people don't do. I hear it like all the time. Like even my family, I had to tell them like, recently they didn't have, they finally like wrote their will, but I was like, even my like parents and stuff, I'm like, yo, like people don't think to like write a will. I've seen so many people like lose a parent that didn't have a will written. Like that's a very important thing to do. I haven't already, filled mine out. I'm 32. You know what I mean? It's like, and you can always alter it and change it, but even that I think is important when it comes to legacy.
Right. That's true. That's very true. Because it allows you to, blatantly explain how you want things to be organized when you leave. Usually it's geared towards financial, the will,
Of course.
how assets are divided, how money is dispersed. But like you said, it can also be cultural as well.
Yeah. And I'm sure you can relate to with your culture, like family traditions, right? I'm sure you guys probably got traditions and stuff like that as well. Like, like cultural traditions.
Sure. Yep, for sure. I actually think that it's kind of breaking down a bit though in modern society cultures, because America's a blending pot. So sometimes our cultures can get washed out, and we have like just a broad American culture. But like you said, I think it's important for each family to kind of hold down to whatever traditions they adhere to, and keep passing that on. I think that's important.
100%. Yeah, I agree with that. America is definitely a blending pot for sure. Or I can see the breakdown too. Like it's I don't know. It's like like you said, like it's like a lot of that's the thing when what we mean by like blended pot too is like a lot of people more so back in the day, right? They would keep to their cultures and stuff. Now everybody is it's different. Everybody's America is just so blended nowadays. It's just everybody. It's just it's not just one culture. Like it's like there's a lot of blended families like in general. So it's
Mm-hmm.
not you know what I mean. A lot of biracial families, and it's everybody brings their own traditions, and they create new traditions too. That's the thing. You might have had a family tradition for years, but you can also create new traditions. So
Right. Right. I agree.
that's the thing of it. There was a thing I was reading. So there was said there was like three different types of legacies. There were financial legacy, your social legacy, and then your emotional legacy. So one of the ones I saw on social, it was and I think this is cool too. So as we kind of said about knowledge, and knowledge can be a million different things. It could be in terms of financial, but it could also be in terms of helping to maintain healthy and stable relationships. I think that's a big one that's not talked about a lot too, because there's a lot of families that have like familial trauma, and that trauma carries on from generation to generation, which can make it difficult for those family members to navigate. Like if you say you were raised in a household where like your mother dealt with depression consistently, you know what I mean, or like was always, you know what I mean, that could honestly rub off on the if you're raised in that environment, um, or you're or I'll say in terms of a social one, right? Say your parents stonewall each other when they have conflict, and that's what you see growing up. That'll pass on if you don't break those generational curses or go to therapy or get the right treatment for it. That could pass along into your future relationships as well. So I would say building a healthy social legacy um, is also important.
Right. I think that
That
refers back to what we were saying. Uh, Whether you know it or not, you're gonna leave a legacy. And
Yep,
then, like, as it goes back to what I said earlier, is you either leaving a mark or you're leaving a scar. So, so if you, like you said, passing on that social trauma, that's gonna be the scar that you're leaving. You're not leaving a positive mark to your family. So, like you said earlier, I think they should, families should figure out a way to not pass on any social trauma or generational trauma to their kids or to their bloodline, so it doesn't leave that scar that will keep repeating itself generation after generation. So I think that's very
exactly,
important to be aware, like you said, be aware of what you're leaving behind, whether you're leaving a scar or a mark, and is it a positive thing?
exactly. That's a good point. I was gonna say it's like it starts with awareness. So like if you can catch that and you're like, hey, this is say like you grew up in a household where like um your parents act a certain way and you're like, hey, it's the awareness like this is the environment I was raised in. This isn't how I want my children. Say like you can never go to your talk to your parents about anything. It's like a deep conversation. Like you can't talk to them about anything deep. And you're like, hey, I want my kids to be able to come to me and be able to talk to me about any types of things. It starts with awareness, number one, and then taking the necessary steps to make sure that you don't carry out the same trauma that your family did. And
Hmm.
that's where it says breaking those generational curses. The curses don't just have to be financial; they can be social as well,
Correct,
for
for
sure.
sure.
And that's yeah, and I think if you have like that type of trauma, it kind of impedes your ability um on the daily to be the best version of yourself too. So it's I think a lot of that starts internally, but the good thing is there's a lot of resources out there to help. That I really do think this is one of the best. This could with the resources that we have, it could be one. It's one of the best ages to be in because you have a lot of resources too, in terms of your mental health, in terms of financial, a lot of resources out there to utilize.
Hmm. And I think with you all, as you get older, you realize like your parents are not perfect.
Right.
So we and they're human being and they're flawed. As a kid, you kind of look at them as like, I don't want to say perfect beings, but you look at them as, kind of like higher than you, like they know everything. And as you get older, you realize that they're not perfect and they're working with the knowledge that they have from their parents and their experiences. And obviously they're gonna leave you with some, some scars like we talked about. But just to recognize that they're not perfect. They're not perfect human beings. They only can use what they know, and that allows you, if they give you some trauma, to forgive them, and then move forward. Like we said earlier, so you take the mistakes that they made, and avoid those as you pass it to your children.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what it mainly should be. We learn. We learn. If we're not learning, we're not if we're not learning, we're not growing. So it's, you have to be able to learn and take the lessons from those mistakes, and you use the knowledge you have at hand, and you just, hey, because like we said, nobody's perfect, so you're always going to make mistakes, and every environment's changing too, right? You have to adapt, so there's going to be mistakes to make throughout every generation. Every environment, every landscape is going to be different. 30 years ago we didn't have the technology we have today. There's going to be adaptations, there's going to be mistakes to be made. And if you're Christian and you believe in the Bible, like, or even if you're not Christian, if you believe in God, you understand that, like, we're sinful by nature. Like, we're gonna make mistakes. We're not perfect. There's no such thing as perfect. So, you know, you're gonna make mistakes. It's what you take from them.
Right.
And if you can learn a lot of valuable lessons from family, you do not make those same mistakes. It'll save you lots of time. That's why I said, like,
Yeah.
and even if not, like, I know people that, like, have had mentors and stuff. Like, my mentor would always say, he's like, I want to teach you things so you don't make the same mistakes that I make. That'll save you like a ton of. That's the one thing we don't get back is time. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
key. Like,
Time
money
is
will get squandered.
precious. Time is precious. And if you can save yourself 5 years by learning from somebody who's been through his mistake,
Yeah.
take it.
Yep.
Pay the money, learn the experience, save yourself 5 years. Like, you ever think, like, when you do make a mistake, and whether it's business, personal, you think, but like, if I just knew that, I would have avoided that pain, or I would have avoided the cost. And
Yep.
if you think about it, if you learn it now, you can avoid that pain, you can avoid the time, you can avoid the cost. That's why, like we said, while nobody's perfect, everybody's gonna make their own mistakes. It'll be dumb to make the same mistakes that your parents made, because you can
Yep.
learn from them and save yourself 5 years.
Yep. And it's sad. That's the saddest thing, is that some people just continue to make those same mistakes. It's like you said, if you could save yourself, say, just an example, something like 5 years, the money that you could have spent, like, because people, like, are so get so attached to their money, which, is good to, save your money and be able to build something with it. But if you got to sometimes look at money as when you put money into stuff as an investment too. If it's going to be a positive investment, something that's essentially going to save you time, you'll probably have spent more money in those 5 years making those same mistakes than you actually would have just paying the money to understand or learn, that thing
Mm-hmm.
that would have saved you time. Time is so
Mm-hmm.
finite. Like,
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow ain't promised, like,
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day. So I know people that have been healthy their whole life and then still get a health issue. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I had a cousin, like, he's always been healthy. He's 50, like, he's my oldest cousin, and he's still benching like 250 at, like, he's lean, he runs everything, he's healthy. And he still had like a heart scare like a few years ago, like
Wow.
AFib. It's like, it just goes to show you. And then I know people that are like out of shape, overweight, and they've never had a health, like, never had any health issues, bro. Like, could be 350 pounds and never, I mean, they probably have like high blood pressure stuff, but have never had like a health scare like their whole life. Like, crazy. But it just goes to show, like, you don't know what the future is going to hold. Like, time is something you can never get back,
Mm-hmm.
and tomorrow ain't promised. So,
Right. Right.
that's the one thing, is like, utilize your time correctly. If you can learn things from your family, you can learn things, and you could, or if you're on the other side and you're the one that can save your family a lot of time and pain, by the knowledge you have internally. That's why Rob was saying, knowledge is first. um,
Mm-hmm.
what you can teach, um, so that,
Of
you can
course.
make, yeah, because money's great, and it's great to be able to build things, but money can also be squandered too.
Right. It comes and goes. It comes and goes. Like,
Exactly.
people hold on to it so much, but I look at money as energy. It comes and goes, comes and goes. But like you said, what's been in your head can't be taken away from you. And I know
Yep.
for me, I'm gonna teach my son or my daughter all the mistakes I've made, so I can save them 10 years. I could save them 5 years. All the mistakes I made in business and personal life, so I can save them years of time, the pain. They're gonna make their own mistakes, but they don't have to go through what I went through. So,
Right. And that's
so the
amazing, man. That's
hmm
that's what that's what it's all about. Honestly, that's what it's all about. You know, save them in terms of and that's the thing. I like how you said business or personal. It could be, there's different areas of life where you could teach. You know what I mean? You can be able to, have them learn from your mistakes. And that's what it's about. You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of people also too, like I always ask my dad like things like he's like mistakes that he may have made when he was like younger and stuff like that. Like I'm always curious because like I'll ask him and like try to pick his brain on stuff. But a lot of people don't actually do that. I feel like they don't even
yeah,
try to ask or have those
yeah,
conversations, which is like,
true.
you know,
Mhm.
it's important to have those conversations. I'll say as a father, I'll initiate those conversations with my
Yeah,
children so that they know, you know what
yep,
I mean? I'll initiate
yep,
those conversations.
yep.
And there's going to be lessons they can learn like at different stages. They could be at high school and then college, and then as they and not even college, but like adulthood, like you know what I mean, adolescence when they're younger, and then as they get into adulthood, and like you could teach them in different areas, which is great.
Yeah.
But that's what it's about. You want your children to learn those lessons. You don't want your children to continuously make those mistakes. It's like, what am I
hmm
doing as a father? Like, I'll just go from the men's perspective. Like, what am I doing as a father if I'm not teaching my kids? You know?
Right. Right. And you
So
want their path to be smooth. You know it's not going to be 100% smooth to where they
no,
need to go, but you want their path to be as smooth as possible, or at least smoother than yours.
yeah,
And if they make their mistakes, they make their own mistakes, but it shouldn't be the same exact mistakes that you made.
exactly, exactly. You want to lay the foundation for them so that they can, have like a smooth foundation for them. But obviously, they're gonna make their own mistakes, and sometimes you just gotta let the kids, as they're getting older and like into adulthood, you gotta let them like experience life, obviously. And they will make their own mistakes, but you want to at least teach them the things that, that you did that could save them time,
hmm
ultimately, which is critical for sure. Um, even this isn't even a mistake. This is kind of like a lesson to value money. Somebody who's a millionaire, he said like when he flies, his first kid, he just has a baby right now, but um he said when his kids are older, when he flies somewhere, him and the wife will fly first class. He's like, but I'll keep the kids in coach. And a lot of people had questioned him, like, why wouldn't you just fly your kids in first class and stuff? And he's like, well, they're already going to a fantastic vacation spot. He's like, small little things like that. Like, hey, I didn't fly first class flying when I grew up. Like, hey, I had to earn this money. Like, just small things to humble them, that they have to still work in this life. Cause I think, that's a mindset too. Like if you completely coddle your kids growing up to the point where like they get spoiled to the point where they don't think they need to work for anything, um,
mm
that could be a problem, a
Right.
big problem.
Right.
So while
And
you
you
can,
could,
yeah,
yeah, I was just saying you could just you can even see the difference when the parent that broke the generational curse versus the kid that kind of grew up spoiled. The hunger
mhm,
is not the same. Um, it's not to say like they shouldn't have a better life than you, that you should like let them go to struggle like you. But I like how he's imparting the lessons from the struggle into the kids, so they can at least have a shot, and not grow up like super coddled. I think that's
exactly.
important.
Yeah, and you just implement it in like small ways. Like you still let your kids experience like the places you're going to, but it's just little things like that you pull back. My cousin is very successful, and he has what he had done. My it's crazy. I called his name is Brian, and I would always call my little cousin. I call him my little cousin. Now he's like 19 years old. He's taller than me. He's like 6'4". Like I was like, dude, he's not even little anymore. I remember this, like he's a baby. Like it's crazy. Now like he's 19, but he's working every summer while he's at college. Like he would not have to work at all, to be honest. Like my cousin is like said, like he makes him work like every summer. He's at internship. He's out. This is his first year out of college. He goes to Penn State, and now he's back home for the summer and he's in an internship. He's working, like he's working at like a supermarket. I think he's working at Acme right now. But my cousin's making him work to like earn his first car. He's like, but like you see, he's paying for his college. Like he's taking care of his schooling. See, he's like, you pick and choose, but he's like, oh no, you're not gonna be like as soon as he turned like 16, gonna have a car and be out here with your boys riding all around. Like he's like, nah. You gotta earn it. Like you gotta earn your first car. He's like, even if it's just a little beater, save your money up. And you know what I mean? Like, but that's smart. See, like he's paying for the investment of his school, and like he knows college is set. Like anything he wants to, if he wants to go to a trade, he's like, you're set. Like, I got you. But yeah, no, it's small things. You got to make your kids earn it. But I'll tell you what, like he's a very intelligent. He's got 2 daughters too. Like they're all his kids are very intelligent. They're very, you know what I mean? They have a lot of confidence. Like they're hardworking. And I'm like, but he teaches them that. Exactly like you said, the hunger, you see it a lot of times. The person that broke the generational curse, they had to have that hunger, because if they really wanted to hit their goal and to break that barrier, it requires a lot of fire. It requires hunger. You're like the hungry dog, and then the kids that are spoiled, they're like fat cats. Like they're used to like to like the pampered life and not having to work hard for any of that. And that's the thing. I think people got to be intuitive of how they raise their kids too. You know what I mean? If you let money raise your kids, you know what I mean? Like that famous saying, you let money raise your kids, it can be problemsome. Seriously. So, because even if you build wealth, if you hand it to like kids that like don't appreciate it, they could blow through your wealth that you built for your family. They could blow through it
and just restart the whole generational curse you just broke.
Yep. They can get caught up with negative habits, drugs, gambling, like, crazy negative habits. And you could blow through all the money when you're not alive anymore. And it's, hey, you're kind of starting from scratch again.
Right. Well, my mentor always said, he's like, man, I'm going to be dead. It don't matter. I'm like, what?
That's true though. You can't possibly watch over all the generations. You ain't gonna be alive for it. So
he's just like, oh, they don't learn. It is what it is.
And that's why knowledge is so important though. See, man, because like you said, money comes and goes. You can lose your money, you can lose your assets. Things can happen in tough times. But if you have the knowledge, you could build yourself back up to be able to gain that stuff back. So that's why if you can teach from a knowledge perspective, your family, and then they can teach, and it's a continuous cycle, and everybody's growing. That's why it's so important. Right. Because money, and it, like you said, it's like change the seasons. It can come and go. Unfortunately, you just never know.
Comes and goes. You can be a millionaire one day and then broke on the streets another day. That can happen. People don't believe that, but that can happen.
Exactly. So it's like, what can we teach that can carry that over? But it's like, it's unfortunate. Like it's like I mean, you see people. This is a little different, but it's kind of relatable. I mean, it's in terms of someone who hasn't had to work for it. Like, say, like you have like a spoiled kid who like, and then you pass away, and like they have access to all this money and all these funds, and like they can blow through it, right? Like people look at people who have won the lottery and have gone broke, like have won like $300 million and have gone broke because it has happened. Like they didn't earn that money, and it just goes to show, like, a lot of people say like, oh, that would never be me. I'm like, yeah, but I'm like, it's of course like people think it's not easy to blow $300 million, but like say like if you have access to $300 million, you can, it is possible to do it. People could just buy crazy stuff. Like I'm gonna get a jet. I'm gonna go here, not managing their money. Yep, and blow.
I know, like I heard this saying by Jim Rohn. He was saying like, if you take all the money in the world and distribute it evenly amongst the people, it will all end up back in the same hands. Meaning the wealthy still gonna own the 10%, and then it's gonna be the rest 90%. Like that's crazy when you think about it.
I've heard that before. Too. So that came from Jim Rohn. Yeah. Nah. It's true though. That's why it's like knowledge is so important. Yeah, it's. I mean, if you don't know what to do with $300 million, like you can lose it all.
Yep.
people get bored. People get bored because they didn't work for it. So there's no fire there. People get bored, and guess what? Boredom, idle hands, right? They stay like, I'm gonna quit my job, I'm gonna sit around. You get bored, you get caught up in temptation. You start gambling, start getting on doing drugs. Like they start to things that they've already started to do things that they never could have imagined they were doing. So then they become so bored with their life. That's why you have to have purpose. You have to have purpose in life. You don't have purpose, I don't care how much money you have, you could blow through it all because you could be so bored with your life if you don't have purpose.
And then another thing that my mentor said, which is kind of cruel, but it's kind of true. It's true. He's saying poor people should remain poor. Because if you gave them money, they're gonna buy more cigarettes. They're gonna do more drugs. They're gonna do more crime with the money. You're gonna empower them. So I'm like, when I think about it, I'm like, that's crazy when you think about it. Because he's saying they're poor not because of their situation. They're poor because of their mindset.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I was about to say,
Right.
Yep.
Right. So if you
Yep.
give them more money with the same mindset, what's gonna happen?
Exactly. And that's that mind, and it's the change of the mindset is what gets them out of being poor. So like
Exactly.
say one day you just like, I'm tired of this shit, I'm tired of living this way, like, and you change your mindset, that's what gets you out of it. But you're right, if you give people money when they're stuck in that same mindset, it's just going to exacerbate their problems. It's going to make them
Right.
a million times worse. You're just giving them more resources to continue those bad habits.
Right. So that's why I said it's cruel, but it makes sense.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. It does make sense. Yeah. It's just, what do they say though? I'm like, if you have a bad mindset though, like that saying will truly be real. More money, more problems. I mean, it's just, and even people that have money, they deal with problems too. You get people hitting you up that like, more people are going to ask you for money, more people are going to hit you up for this, and it's like, that's another thing. Me and my boy were just talking about. I have to like do a podcast episode on it. I think people think when people are doing financially well, they all think that like they just because somebody else is doing well financially, they should be entitled to the resources that you have, which is, to me, is like crazy. It's like the friends that you never hear from until like they need something. They only hit you up. I was like, I could do a whole episode on that, but it's like they only hit you up when they need something. It's like they're never there to like, yo, man, how you been? Yo, let's kick it. Like, yo, let's catch up. Like it's more so like a, yo, bro, how you been? And then it's like, give it like an hour. Yo, man, by the way, man, I'm going through a tough time. Me and my boy Joey were talking about this. It's like, yo, it's true though. It's people you never hear from, and then like they hit you up.
Right.
It's crazy.
When they need so you get a text from them, you're like, I haven't heard from this person in a while. Then you see why. You're like, oh, that makes sense.
Yo, and it's also like like you have to kind of question. It's like what gives the impression that like for them to come and ask me. You know what I mean? It's like if you're someone who's a people pleaser who gets in a habit of like, oh, they know that you're a nice guy and that you'll do it. You see, like that's the problem though. I always say there's a difference between being nice and being like doing the right thing, being a good person. Like you're just because you're a good person doesn't mean you need to give anybody else your resources. You know what I mean? It's like, if you can afford it, okay, cool. But like, if it's going to make you feel some type of way for doing it, like, don't do it. Like, and even Tony Robbins says it's actually not really healthy to any type of relationship in your life if you're consistently lending money. If you're going to give somebody money, just give it to them as a gift if you can afford to do so. Like, don't lend it because it's like, yo, then when you're waiting to collect that money back, it strains relationships. Friendship before. Yeah. So
I've heard that before.
Yeah. And essentially, you're letting somebody know too that anytime they get into a bind, they got you as a safety net. You're not really like teaching anybody anything too. It's okay if you can like help a friend or something like that, but if it's something that's consistent, just be mindful of that. It's like that person's probably using you as a safety net. Like, oh, I ain't got gas for a week. It's all right. I can go out and do this tonight. But like, hey, like Steve's got it. Steve's gonna get me on Wednesday, and I need money. Like, I can just ask him.
Right.
So,
And I don't know if you heard this saying, give a man a fish, and he can eat for a day. But if you teach him how to fish, he can eat for a lifetime.
yeah.
So like you were saying, it'll be better if you can just, teach the person how to get it than to just hand them a gift that they may just squander.
Yep. I had that with a buddy one time, and like he was living like North Philly, but he hit me up. He was always asking like for money, and I actually told him, I'm like, yo, I used to work at this one job. I don't work there anymore. I'm like, yo, I could put a reference in for you. I could literally drive you over there, man. They're hiring right now. Nah,
Right.
you know that. I see, but I'm like, yo, like I was like, bro, I'll literally pick you up. I'll drive over there. I was, I'll put a word in for you. Put the application in, and it's like, nah. Like I just need this. So it's like, nah, you need monetary, because it's like, yo, you don't want to work to, build someone. I'm like, yo, literally, you'll probably get the job, but yeah, people would rather just get handed something immediate and not have to make any money. But it's like, yo, you make more money like just actually having a job.
And
It's
asking
crazy.
for a handout. What's about?
Exactly. It's like that goes to show me where your mindset's at. Like, you know what I mean? If you really needed money, you would take that job.
Mm-hmm.
So
Exactly. And that's what we were saying about mindset. How you give the poor person the money and they have the same mindset, it's gonna end up back in the same hands.
exactly. If I gave someone like that, like you give someone like that $1 million, they'd probably blow through $1 million. They'd blow through
Yeah.
it. It's
Yeah,
just,
for sure.
it's like they wouldn't be thinking, I should probably get a financial team in order. Let me get my legal. Let me get a legal. Make sure I got a legal team. Maybe make sure I got a financial team. That can get a financial advisor to show me how to park my money. Make my money, make my return on my investment. Buy some property. Nah, those people aren't thinking like that. Yo, I gotta go to the corner store and buy some cigarette. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, I'm gonna go buy a brand new whip. I'm gonna be looking fly. Like, it's like, yeah,
Yeah, buy a
appreciate it.
mansion, get an
Yep.
upkeep, then people, all the friends gonna be, taking from them, using them, and it just
Yep.
over time start to dwindle. And then because while they have the money is great, but they're not a producer, eventually that money's gonna run out.
Yep.
So remember,
Exactly.
the money was a one-time thing. So if you don't have that stream coming in, how you gonna replenish
Yep. And those people that are around you are gonna leave real quick too. Like your little
it?
entourage.
Real quick.
They there's a guy, what's his name? Tim Grover. He was a trainer of like Michael. He trained Jordan, he trained Charles Barkley. I worked with Kobe, Dwayne Wade. But anyway, he said something with AI is AI always had like an entourage like around them. And he said, like one time, I forget who it was. It wasn't Jordan, was it? It actually might have been Kobe. Kobe had like a little group around him, but he actually had said like you guys gotta wait outside or y'all can't come in here. And this boy's like, oh, what you mean and stuff? And he like had a term for them. He called them PhDs. He said professional holders of dicks. He's like, because they're useless. They're just around. Like, and he had talked to Kobe, but he's like, yo, like these people are just around you for like the bull. They're just there for the come up, like for the lifestyle. They're not there for. But like they're not there for your actual success. These guys aren't adding shit to your corner. Like it's more so they're just taking from your corner. They ain't adding shit. They ain't adding knowledge. They ain't giving you any type of stuff you can work with, like to like gain on. That's yeah. 50 Cent said that once too. One guy had reached out to him on social media. He said people reach out to him on social media all the time, but people always read his DMs like, "Yo, Fifth, put me on here, put me on there." Or people he hadn't heard from in years, "Yo, can you put me on? I'm trying to like build my rap career or stuff." But it's not ever approaching people like 50 Cent's just an example, but it's not approaching someone with, "Here's what I can do for you." It's more
Right.
so like "Yo, can you do this for me?" It's like,
Me.
not a like, hey, this is what I do. Like, say, like, you're good with technology, you're good with marketing, you can help this person. It's never that. It's always there's some people that might do that, but majority of people that reach out is, hey, you have this type of status. Hey, can you do this for me? But then they're
Hmm.
not giving any type of return for what they want.
Right. Right. Like they say, you either an asset or a liability. They either add it
Exactly.
to you or taken from you.
Exactly.
So, and yeah, I agree. Like I have people who I haven't talked to in years reach out to me asking me, can they get my contractors? I'm like, what? Like, no. It's like,
No.
what are you doing for me to just give you my contract that's gonna take away from their time, take away from me?
from
No.
my project that they're
Like,
working on. They're working on my
yeah.
project. It's like, yo,
Yeah, like what? It's crazy. Like
and
you
that's the
said,
thing,
people don't think of adding value. You add value first, and then you
right?
ask for reciprocation.
Right. And while it might not be malicious, I think people sometimes don't think before they speak. It's like you gotta understand from like the coming from the other person's mindset, you're gonna take away the people that are working on my projects to like essentially the utilize towards your side. It's like, yo, you're not even thinking. Like, what are you bringing to the table that we could like
Right,
both grow from? Like, hey, you could offer me something. It's like, okay, now like we can both trade value. Like it's like,
right.
you know, a lot of
An
people with
exchange
yeah.
of value.
Exactly. Not a take. You know what I mean? Even my mentor, I try to do something. You know, I'm not at his expertise level, but I try to always come with some type of knowledge or things like I know something he's working on, you know, and I try to, bring something. And even he's like, as you get bigger and stuff, that's when I can trade value too. You know what I mean? That's how it is. It's like
Right.
you should be able to give like even if they are a mentor, it's like, yo, you shouldn't just be take. It's you should be able to offer something because they're giving you their time. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
And I'm sure in some ways you're giving to them, even though you're not giving like monetary, you're not giving them knowledge. You're giving them, experience with you. You're giving them
Yep.
uh, the sense of that they're helping somebody, get somewhere. Like that's
Yep.
that's in some ways valuable to some successful people. Like the fact that they feel like they're giving back and helping somebody achieve their goals. But usually they do it with somebody that they know and they like and they trust. Like,
Right.
you don't know me, you don't know he doesn't know you. You reaching out for him to give you something. It's just like
Yeah.
that's different.
Exactly. It's like, and I know people that will have told me like because they may have met my mentor in passing or something and try to get linked up with that person like on a mental level. I was like, I can't like just like put you on like this person's a busy person, you know what I mean? I was like, that's up to that person. They're like, yo, man, like put me on, yo, when like I meet up with my mentor, yo, can I meet up with him too when I'm with you and stuff? It's like, yo, it's like that's kind of like we're like doing like a one-on-one, like meeting up. I'm like, you can reach out to them. I'm like, but at the end of the day, like, their time is valuable too. I can't just put you onto that person and say, yeah, they'll definitely mentor you. You know what I mean? Like they don't
Hmm.
know you like they know me. You know what I mean? Like
Right, right.
we know each other differently. So it's like, and that's the thing. If that person I know is like not serious, like I'm not gonna link them with my mentors. I'm not gonna do that. It's like if you're just gonna be a waste of time and you're just like, yeah, a mentor, that sounds cool. Because I know some people that are like that. Oh, I need a mentor. It's like, but really, like they're not gonna like be serious.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like I can't. That's a represent. You're a representation of me essentially. If I refer you over to my mentor,
Right.
so
I
yeah.
agree.
But yeah, in terms of like people around you, just be careful of people that just want to take. There are a lot of people out there that just want to take. They're there as long as like they said with like entourages in sports, for example, like or like music, whatever. It's like a lot of times they're there till the money dries up, and then when the money dries up, they're gone. They ain't there for you when you're in your. They're not in your corner when times are tough.
Hmm. And I heard this guy was saying on this podcast, he was saying like it's better, you know, as you rise in whatever profession or on adventure you're going on or venture you're doing, it's better to take the people that was with you when you just started or when you were at the bottom. Because when you rise and you meet the people in your surroundings at the top, you don't know what their attention is. You don't know whether they're here just to use you. You don't know. But the people that you started with, as you climb and you climb with them, you already know that they're with you at the bottom. They're with you when you
Yeah,
had nothing. So you know their intention is pure. And as you rise, they'll rise with
right. I'll give you a perfect example. LeBron James. LeBron James with his boys from his day ones, Rich Paul, Maverick Carter. Them boys were all boys like before LeBron. They knew LeBron was gonna get big, but like they all add business sense to like everything. Look at Rich Paul. He's like the number one agent in the NBA. You see what I'm
you.
saying? Like
Hmm.
they all add stuff. Maverick Carter, the house LeBron on the business side of it. You know what I mean? Like they literally like pay for it, like pay. He's like, yo, man, go to school, learn this, learn that. Like, yo, it's all like adding value to each other. You know what I mean? And they
Hmm.
learn things and add it. Like LeBron's business sense is ridiculous
Hmm.
for an
Right.
athlete. You see how much money he has. Majority of that money was made outside the NBA.
Right. Right. and he knows like those boys were with him when he was dirt poor.
Exactly.
So he know they're not there just because he has the status, he has the money. He knows their
Exactly.
intentions are pure. He knows they like him for who he is, not
Yep.
for what he represents.
Yep. They all grew up together, so it's like you can trust them more. You know what I mean? It's for sure. Um, yeah. The more you're already successful, the harder it is to trust. It's like that in a marriage too. Say like I'll just go from a man's perspective. Say a man is already very wealthy, and then he meets somebody. It's like yeah, that person could
Yeah,
actually be there for you, but it does make you second guess sometimes because you never fully know what someone's motives or intentions are.
right,
So
right.
it's
I 100% agree. Like you just never know. You
yep,
never know whether they would have been with you when you didn't have anything. You just don't know.
yep,
And that's why ideally it'd be great to, find somebody when you're young and you're building, you want to come up and y'all go through the struggles together. And then
yep.
you know that relationship is solidified. You know because y'all went through the struggles together.
Exactly. That's another perfect good example. Just going back to LeBron, I'm like his wife, Savannah. They were high school sweet. They were high school like sweethearts and stuff. And then like what I mean. He's big now, but he's been married to her for so many years. She's the mother of his children, and it's like, but she's been there this whole time. You know what I mean? Before he had all the money and all the fame, she was there. You know what I mean? So that's an
Right,
example.
right. Went through the hard times together, went through the rough times together. Ate
Exactly.
ramen noodles together. Like that those struggles, man, you look back, that solidifies a relationship.
Exactly. And people might say, well, that's LeBron James. It's like everybody knew he was gonna be successful. But the pressure it is to like be LeBron James. Like he was considered the one. Oh, he's the go. Like he literally lived up to the name. And you know how many
Hmm.
players fail to live up to the name and are busts in sports or even in music. People get hyped up and like they're not like they can't build a sustainable music career. It happens all the time. Like actors, same things. Like it's just um he lived up to it. You know what I mean? That's a lot of pressure on someone. So I don't care how much, how talented that person is. It still requires a lot of work ethic. So they were, if someone's there with you through it, ideally, that's not how it happens a lot of the time. You know what I mean? But
Right.
um, that's great if someone can be there in the trenches with you when you're struggling, because then you can. It kind of shows they were there for you when you had nothing.
Hmm.
But yeah, man. I think well I actually kind of want to do a part two on this at some point. I want to try to maybe get more people in and maybe we can like talk more about this. Because I feel like this topic is important. Like it's just legacy is so important, guys. It's you know whether it's financial, knowledge, you're teaching your family and your kids something. It's so important. That's what I think. Like when you're on your deathbed, that's what you're gonna think about. What legacy did you build? What are you remembered for? Because it's great to have nice things as long as nice things don't have you. I always say, but at the end of the day, you can't take that into you ain't taking it in the coffin with you. You ain't going into the ground with it. You know what I mean? How are you remembered is so important. So, um, making
Right.
your mark.
Right. Right. And like we said, whether you know it or not, you're leaving a legacy. So it's up to you to control the narrative of that legacy.
Exactly. You're either going to leave a good legacy or you're going to leave one where you're not really remembered and or you're remembered for unfortunately like horrible things. You know what I mean? I hope not. I hope not. You know what I mean? But you know, it's just yeah. That's always the regret of everyone though. It's like what they didn't get a chance to do or what they wish they would have did or the risks they would have taken. And it's like,
Hmm.
or you know what I mean? That's what most people's regrets are.
Right. Yeah. And then I've seen like quote from a nursing home is just like most people's regrets are from things that they didn't do, not for
Yes.
the things that they did and try. And then, so
Yep.
if you want to live a life with no regrets, do it. Just like Nike, just do it. Whether you
Just
fail, whether it was successful, whether it failed, it's better to, live with the rejection than to live with the regret. So definitely, like you said, is what you didn't do. So whatever you aim to do in this life, I say go for it.
right. because you'll overcome fear and shame, but you ain't gonna overcome regret at the end of the day when you're on your deathbed. That's not something you're gonna be able to overcome when death comes knocking and your time is up. That's not something you're gonna be able to overcome. So take advantage of the age that we live in right now. The plethora of knowledge that we have at our fingertips, and like Rob said earlier, that's where it all starts. It starts with knowledge, and the knowledge allows you to build your resources and build up everything else. So it starts there.
Sure.
But yo, brother, I appreciate you coming on, man. We're past the hour mark, so I guess Mario couldn't make it on. It's all good. I want to try to get a stronger panel. This was kind of a backup topic that I had because my boy couldn't make it for the original episode. So yeah, I would love to make this into like a part 2 at some point, man. So if you're available like in the future or whatever, I'll make sure I let you know way ahead of time. And yeah, man, I appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule, man, to come on here tonight.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's an important topic. Always love to listen in or tune in or join in on the important topics.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. It's definitely an important topic. I think next time when I do an episode 2, I want to try to get a couple of my boys that are fathers on here too, to be able to talk, from a dad's perspective for sure. Being fathers, obviously having children, because I know that lights a different fire, man. Once you have those children, at least it should light a different fire. I think for some people maybe it doesn't, but I know for me, man, that's just gonna make me, want to give my all every single day. Not because I'm not just fighting for me, it's for my family too.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
But yeah, again, appreciate you, brother. Have a good night, man. Thank you again. To everybody else out there, have a good night, good weekend. We'll see you next week for episode 217.
Peace. Take care, everyone.
Take care, man. Have a good one.